please welcome Sandeep here on stage with me. Okay, so Sandeep and I, we have a bit of a passion, a bit of an energy. Did you realise that? You've noticed I've got a bit of energy? Yeah. Right, I'm going to give you something and I would like you to tell me if that's the right thing. Before I go on stage, avant que je vienne en scène ou je me prépare.
Thank you, please sit. Thank you all for being here. Let me take you back to a time in 2008. My marriage was failing. My wife had already moved out of the house and taken an independent apartment. My mother had come. And that was a time when a friend suggested that we attend a day-long program by a spiritual master who was visiting our city. Now, how many of you keep your private lives so private that even friends don't really know what's happening? Yeah. We did. We looked very amiable together. And so my wife and I decided that let's attend this program. I don't remember a word of what that teacher said that day. All I remember is that 6 hours into the session, we were crying and weeping and hugging each other, feeling grateful. How many of you would like to take your audiences to that level of emotional response? Look around the hall. That is the problem. The problem is that we don't know the difference between speaking from stage and moving from stage. Moving something inside. Now, what do you think happened to my wife and I after that massive emotional run? What do you think happened?
Love. To get together.
We lived happily ever after. Divorced. And that brings me to the first of 4 balloons that I'm going to be releasing for you today about raising the energy of the room. The first thing you've got to know is about emotion. Emotion is about what you move your audiences with. But you have to move them with intent. Pascal used that word. Not with expectation. The intent means I will tell you a story intending you to relate with it. Expectation means I will expect you to laugh when I say divorced. And if you don't, I'll be crying. You see how self-sabotage is set up with expectation. But with intent, we tap into a higher energy, which connects all of us. So whether you laughed or didn't, we still relate with each other, right? Now, why is that? Here's your balloon. That is because emotion is emotion. Pardon my French, but energy au mouvement. Energy in movement. And when we are able to move this energy, we are able to connect with spirit. Basically, we are at unity of 3 things. The mind, with which we plan our talks. The body, with which we deliver our talks. And spirit, with which we connect. And only after you connect can you then move. When you connect with your own spirit and that of your audience, you are spiritual. Speaking is a spiritual business. And with the power of a story, that emotion, when you throw it across the hall like a net, you move the whole audience towards your message. Now, I was very obsessed with this whole concept of energy. I decided, let me explore the real deal. So my name is Sandeep Nath, and I'm from India. In 2010, I handed my consulting company over to the other directors, and I headed out to the Himalayas. I studied under Vedic gurus, Tibetan lamas, Taoist and Zen masters. And you want to know one thing two things that I discovered, which all of them have in common. You want to know?
Yes.
Say it like you mean it.
Yes.
One is what Pastor reminded us, they don't use PowerPoint. Two is that they can speak for great lengths of time without rehearsals. And that's what brings me to the second of the balloons that I'm going to release. They do it because they are able to nurture the energy of the audience. What does that mean? Nurturing energy means that they are able to read the thoughts in the minds of the attendees and build their arguments accordingly. Raise the energies inside. Like for instance, Claire Boss today, she did such a fantastic job in raising the energies of the room. Thank you, Claire, for giving us such an elevated hall. I give you a balloon, let's give her a big hand. Bravo. So I was in this room with the Dalai Lama. There were about 500 of us sitting there. And he was on an elevated platform here. And he was talking about the Buddha's first sermon, how desire is the cause of all suffering. And somewhere sitting over there, I was thinking, liberation is a desire also, which means liberation also will come with suffering. And suddenly, the Dalai Lama paused. And he said, let me tell you what the Buddha really meant about liberation. And he took a 20-minute detour, clarifying that for all of us, and then came back to the original subject. You do that too. Remember the last time you were with a friend and you said the same thing at the same time?
Yeah. Yes.
Or you said, that's exactly what I was about to say. You're nurturing each other's energy one-on-one. And remember how elevated that made you feel? Well, that's the elevation you experience when you energetically connect with the whole room. Now, this is a very tricky one. Because some of you might be thinking, what does this guy know about what I am thinking right now? But I'm just thinking that some of the single women in the room might want to ask me out for a drink tonight. But I've got to tell you something. When I was in the monasteries in the Himalayas, I met somebody. And I'd like to call her up on stage. My wife, Kenna. We celebrated our 10th anniversary 3 months ago. And thank you. And this also brings me to release the third balloon. Can anybody guess what that is? Good guess. Try again. We're talking about speaking here. We're not talking about just life.
Ah, very good release.
Surprise. Well, the third thing is surprise. And many of you, like the previous speaker, Marie, or I don't know if I pronounced the name right, amazing. You see, when you invoke humor, you can get people surprised. The unexpected happens. But I'm not a funny guy. So, I discovered something, that the Zen monks are not very funny people either. So what do? they do the unexpected. It's called a koan. And the suddenness of that koan, that revelation, can even lead to enlightenment. Now, for you and me, we will just use this aspect of surprise to retain the audience attention. There are good surprises which make you feel good, and there are bad surprises which shock you. The thing about the good surprises is that you always think of it and smile. It makes you feel good. The energy sticks. You connect. Like 6 months later, some of you might think of Elevate 2023 and connect with Kenna's sublime energy and smile. But if you want to connect with my gross energy, you got to use LinkedIn or WhatsApp. Available at sandeepnath.com/hello. So you can pull out your mobile phones now, sandeepnath.com/hello, and say hello to me.
Hello.
Very, very enthusiastic audience I have. Surprise. Speaking of surprises, you might remember this young crocodile who saw that grand old master, hunter crocodile, and he wanted to show the master, I'm in the same league. And so he dumped into the river and came out of the fish. The master didn't bother. He went in again, came out of this big fish. The master didn't bat an eye. He went in again, and suddenly, on the surface, there was a yowl. Utter silence. He gave up. And what did he see? There's a big wild boar next to the master, dead in a pool of blood. Spiritual mastery requires a similar mindset. It's not about hustling. It's not about making moves on stage to shake the audience. It's about making a profound shift that moves the audience into a different state forever. Thank you, Savin, for making all these arrangements. I use my pen. I have another one. Surprises don't stop here. And I will call this profound insight. Pi. You know, mathematically, pi is endless. And so is profound insight. And you know where profound insight comes from? For each one of these speaking icons that we have in this hall, it comes from spirit, from energy. And where does energy come from? It comes from inspiration. Breathing. You expire only once, but you inspire every moment of your life. And that's because that's what God did. So let's do an exercise in building this inspiration together, shall we? Is the translator on target? Shall we?
Yeah.
I'd like you all to sit on your chairs. Don't lean your back against, keep the spine vertical. And take your right hand out like this with the thumb and index finger and bring it close to your face. Now, ancient meditators have discovered that we have two channels on the left and right, and we're going to oxygenate them independently. So with the thumb, the right thumb, you press the right nostril and you breathe in. With the finger, you press the left nostril and breathe out. With the thumb, you press the right and breathe in. Finger, you press the left and breathe out. Thumb, you press the right and breathe in. Finger, you press the left and breathe out. Now with the left hand, bring the left thumb to the left nostril and close it and breathe in. And breathe out with the thumb released. Thumb presses nostril and breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in for the third time from the right nostril. Breathe out from the left nostril. And now both nostrils together. Breathe in. Breathe out. Full belly breathing. Fill the belly. Breathe out. Preferably only nostrils. Third time. Excellent, excellent. This practice has the potential of making a profound shift in everything that goes on inside. Inspiring this way brings the mind, the body, and the spirit in alignment. And that alignment gives you power. Inner power. And your inner power can change the outer reality. For you and for your audiences. Take the balloon, for instance. This balloon, depending on what's inside, can go really high up or just around here. This balloon, depending on how thick it is inside, the magician can put a needle right through it. This balloon, whatever it has inside, how much of a gas you fill, its outside is going to be loved by kids in equal proportion. Big balloons, they're not. So, we normally get very obsessed with our bodies. We do think about our minds, but the more we connect with our spirit, you remember a little while ago I told you, the connection you make with spirit will make you spiritual. And speaking, to connect, to move, and to raise is a spiritual business. So let's quickly recap. What are the 4 balloons that we must use to raise the energy? Would anybody like to say them out for me? Nurture, I heard nurture.
Nurture. Emotion.
Emotions. Energy in motion.
Surprise.
Surprise. And profound insights, shortened to pi. And what is it that raises the energy of our spirit? Breathing. What is it that raises the energy of our mind? Listening at conventions like these. A lot of great speakers coming up. And what raises the energy of our body? To remember that, it's an anagram of the first alphabets, S-P-I-N-E. Colon vertebral. But vertebral, did I get that right? Spine. And I'd like you all to raise your spines and come to your feet. And you will discover something very profound. You will discover a power. And this is a power that you get when you're standing. And which is why it's always a good idea to stand and speak even virtually. Twist a little to the left, to the right, bend a little, stretch a little, and give yourselves a big hand.
Bravo. Quelle énergie! On n'a pas besoin d'énergie des fois, juste respirer. C'est un moment d'énergie interne, de yin énergie, moi j'appelle ça. Donc merci Sandeep. Et alors Sandeep m'a envoyé une phrase, stay here, just Sandeep m'a envoyé une phrase avant pour que je lui dise merci. Alors je vais la traduire parce que c'est un petit peu profound. Donc il va falloir que je vous le traduise en français et en anglais pour que vous compreniez que ce soit vraiment que ça ancre. You inspire only once, or you must inspire every moment of your life. Alors, you expire, vous ne mourrez qu'une seule fois, mais vous pouvez inspirer, vous devez inspirer à tous les moments de votre vie. Sandeep, thank you very much.